My friends, there are people saying terrible things about Democrats. And fortunately, I'm one of them. My name is Howard Real. This is Real Truth. Welcome to a brand new week. Yeah, one of the things that we say about Democrats that's absolutely awful, but absolutely true, is that they are hypocrites and liars. Why do I say that? Well, I'm very glad that you asked. Item from Fox News. It may come as no shock that Democratic senators currently running for president have opposed nearly all of President Trump's judicial nominees this year. But newly reported voting data shows that some of those same lawmakers backed a surprising number of the president's court picks before the election season began. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat Massachusetts, for example, voted in favor of 46% of Trump's nominees from 2017 to 2018. That's according to data compiled by Demand Justice. Yet the figures obtained and reported by Politico show that in 2019, the number shrank to 0. Two other 2020 candidates, Senators Bernie Sanders and Kirsten Gillibrand, also rejected every single one of Trump's picks this year, when in previous years they approved 47%. They've lost their minds, Senator John Cornyn, Republican Texas, told Politico. It's just reflexive, so I don't think it's any reflection on the nominees in particular. They're just opposed to anything and everything the president is for. Stop. So, my friends, no matter how they feel about the individual judges, if Donald Trump is for it, they're against it. Why couldn't these lawmakers be replaced by trained chimpanzees? You give a chimp a signal, it does something. Chimpanzees aren't very smart. They're not educated. Obviously, they're just wild animals. You give them a little bit of training and they can replace senators and Congress members. You give him a pellet, he presses a button. You give him another pellet, he presses a button. Donald Trump says yes, Democrats say no, just like chimpanzees. Do you want that kind of knee-jerk, reactionary running things in your state? In Washington, D.C.? Obviously, they're not considering the merits of the judges themselves. They're not considering the fact that the judge may very well deserve to be placed on the bench. That doesn't interest them. They're not concerned with the fact that their constituents, their voters, deserve to have the best judges. All that stuff goes right down the toilet, together, by the way, with their chances of becoming president. If Trump says yes, they say no, like trained chimpanzees. That's the Democrat body at work. We continue. Even those who approved the majority of the president's judicial nominees during the first 2 years of his term have reversed course. While Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat Minnesota, approved 64% of Trump's picks in past years, this year saw just a 3% approval rate. Senator Kamala Harris, Democrat California, went from 51% down to 6%. Senator Cory Booker, Democrat New Jersey, that's Spartacus, folks, had approved almost half in the past at 49%, now stands at 11% this year. So with the Democrats who are running for president, what they're saying could not be clearer. To their voters, they're saying, screw you. To the judges themselves, they're saying, screw you. To people who hold that elected officials owe it to the country to do their best and appoint the very best people, they're saying, screw you. And to the President of the United States, who's doing a bang-up job, accomplishing things all over the place, the economy is running hotter than we've seen it in a very long time, they say to him also, screw you. Folks, are any of these morons, any of them sound like presidential timber to you? Or are they simply a clown show? Item from BBC.com. China is deliberately separating Muslim children from their families, faith, and language in its far western region of Xinjiang, according to new research. At the same time as hundreds of thousands of adults are being detained in giant camps, a rapid, large-scale campaign to build boarding schools is underway. Based on publicly available documents and backed by dozens of interviews with family members overseas, the BBC has gathered some of the most comprehensive evidence to date about what's happening to children in the region. Records show that in one township alone, more than 400 children have lost not just one but both parents to some form of internment, either in the camps or in prison. Formal assessments are carried out to determine whether the children are in need of centralized care. Alongside the efforts to transform the identity of Xinjiang adults, the evidence points to a parallel campaign to systematically remove children from their roots. Unquote. My friends, this is absolute genius on the part of the Chinese. They are re-educating Muslims. They're taking children away and allowing them to forget that they're Muslim, and hence they are doing away with the poisonous scorpion that is Islam. As I've said on this show many times, China has absolutely no intention of being defeated by Islam. They're not even going to let it get a foothold there. Now, it's true there are 1 million Uyghur Muslims there. But China is hard at work defending itself, defending its culture against people who hate it and want to destroy it. When do we get as smart as China and other countries, and you've heard me talking about them on this show, that are actively defending themselves against worldwide jihad? Why the hell aren't we? Oddly enough, I can answer that question in one word. Liberals. Liberals are throwing open the gates and making us vulnerable to attack by those, and there's over 1 billion of them, who want to conquer the United States and run up the flag of Islam over the White House. So my hat is off to China for being determined to survive. It's Monday, it's Real Truth, and we'll be right back.
Before hiring a realtor from a big corporation who outsources their job to pay little to no taxes, ask yourself, what is it want for a realtor? You need a realtor who's honest, has integrity, a realtor who's focused on the client's bottom line. That's what realtor qualifies. It provides personally over the top system before, during, and after the transaction. You want a realtor that knows how to market your property. Hi, I'm James Boyd, a realtor with Grisham and Associates LLC. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Land deals, mountain cabins, urban dwellings, I've got you covered. For the first time in both lives, we will make it the best experience. If you are looking to up or downsizing, we will do better than your last transaction. Call me today at 720-203-0731 or visit ColoradoProperties.com. Let me do a great job for you. If I fall just about anywhere, all kinds of different. Do you use the experience rate? Just like that. Ain't no way to better than skill. Just like that. Just like that. Just like that. Thank you for that. Just like that. Wonderful to go with you all the way. Ready? 951 459. Just like that.
All right, guys, we are back, and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your July 4th weekend. Singer Joy Vila and Walkaway campaign founder Brandon Straka were on with Maria Bartiromo Talking about why they're trying to get people to walk away from the Democrat Party, I think it is absolutely essential that people do so. I applaud their efforts, but let's listen to the thinking behind their efforts. Here we go. Now, you see, because Maria Bartiromo is on a major station and she's getting paid major money, she's got to say alleged hypocrisy, while you and I know damn well there's tons of hypocrisy on the left. We hear it every single solitary day. Go. So, my friends, you see, this is a very optimistic message here. We know the Democrats are either ignorant or stupid. There's no third alternative. But there is a possibility that some of them can be redeemed. You know, they called us irredeemable. But Democrats, some of them, a small percentage, can learn. They can actually learn and start thinking like grown-ups. And this guy is the proof of that. It's almost as if they were stupid children. Oh, wait a minute. I've said that about 1,000 times. My friends, this is absolute music to my ears. Here are former leftists, former Democrats, saying exactly and precisely what I've been saying for so long. It's always the people on the left who are the fascists, who are the censors, who are the Nazis, who will threaten you, who are Antifa, who will blacklist you, go after your advertisers, try and ruin your career. Always the left, always the liberals. So when I told you back at the beginning of the show that I could sum things up in one word, liberal, I'm not kidding. And these people are the proof. Let's continue. Hang on. Hold on 1 minute there, Maria. If you have young people with bright parents who've raised their kids to think for themselves, to investigate, to analyze, and not be swayed by the herd, those kids will get the message. The kids with parents who aren't that bright, who don't care enough to teach the kids to think for themselves, who want their kids to just be part of the herd, those kids are going to have a tough time. Not just in politics, but in life, because their parents are dummies. You've got to teach your kids to stand strong on their own 2 feet, even if the majority of people oppose them. Those kids always end up doing well. The other kids, well, maybe they belong in a herd. The censorship and the hate are on the left. So my question is, where are you listening to me right now? The censorship and the fascism and the hate are on the left. Are you also on the left? Do you stand with the fascists and the liars and the hypocrites and the censors and the haters? Is that you? Or are you better than that? Well, if you're better than that, act better than that. Don't ever vote for a Democrat again. Come on over to the logical, reasonable side where you won't find haters. Well, you'll find people who think and have the courage of their convictions.
Proud to have released that music video today. It also features Brandon because he has been heavily censored as well.
I love the fact that, Joy, you used your celebrity and your sheer talent to get your messaging through.
It's a pleasure. I love doing this because as a singer, like, this is communication. This is when I say this is who I am. And if I don't be the voice of this generation, if I'm not the person who is putting my values above, I guess you could say, self-gain, then what am I doing this for?
Yeah.
You know, I went through very much soul-searching in 2016, voting for Trump, going back to my conservative values, walking away. I said, listen, if I'm going to get a platform like this that I worked so hard as independent artist, I'm going to make it count for something. So I'm proud to do that.
Right.
And Freedom Fight For It, that video drops on YouTube today, youtube.com/MissJoy Villa.
We were showing some teasers of it while you were talking, Joy. Congratulations on the signal there. And Brandon, come back. Let us know how this is resonating and what kind of a reception you're getting.
I'd love to come back anytime.
Brandon Struck.
My friends, when you listen to these people talk, it's like listening to those who've escaped from communist bloc countries and come to America, reveling in freedom. Because the left has no freedom. The left is monolithic. The Democrats insist that you march together with the rest of the herd. And if you get out of line, you heard them. You heard them say it. You get out of line, you start thinking for yourself, you start thinking better, they will crush you. They will destroy you. Well, there's a real good way to keep that from happening. Let's disempower the left by voting their politicians the hell out of office. And I don't just mean in the White House. I mean in the Senate, in Congress, governorships, mayors, assemblymen, councilmen. Don't vote for Democrats anymore. They are poison. And increasingly, the Democrat Party opposes everything that makes America America. Item. From Reuters, Dateline Amsterdam, an alleged Dutch-born Islamic State militant went on trial in the Netherlands on Monday, that's today, for war crimes in Iraq and Syria, including breaches of the Geneva Conventions, after posing with a crucified body and sharing images of dead victims online. It's the first trial in the Netherlands dealing with war crimes by an alleged Islamic State militant. There is no international tribunal to prosecute widespread atrocities during Syria's civil war, which began in 2011, but prosecutors in several European countries have put on trial nationals who joined militant groups in the Middle East. According to the European police agency Europol, some 5,000 Europeans went to fight in Syria and Iraq, of whom some 1,500 have returned. Roughly 300 Dutch nationals joined in the armed fight in Iraq and Syria. Prosecutors said, stop. If Europeans go to Syria and Iraq to fight, they're Muslims going there to fight on behalf of the Muslims there. So how the hell do they get back into Europe? Why would Europe want them back? All they're doing is taking supporters of terrorism back into their countries. Makes no sense. Item from the Associated Press, Dateline Chicago. Nearly 1/4 of Americans say they never plan to retire, according to a poll that suggests a disconnection between individuals' retirement plans and the realities of aging in the workforce. Experts say illness, injury, layoffs, and caregiving responsibilities often force older workers to leave their jobs sooner than they'd like. According to a poll from the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs Research, 23% of workers, including nearly 2 in 10 of those over age 50, don't expect to stop working. Roughly another 1/4 of Americans say they will continue working beyond their 65th birthday. Unquote. My friends, I'm one of those people. I'm going to be working after I'm 65. Now listen closely. This is a wake-up call. If you have not yet started preparing for your retirement, and believe me, until recently, I was one of you. If you haven't started, start now. Begin now. Investigate retirement accounts. Go online. Do the research. Even if you just put a little money aside, $10 a week aside, it adds up. If you put it in the right investment, it grows. It earns interest. Even if it's just $10 a week, you've got to start now. I don't care if you're old. I don't care if you're young. You've got to think ahead. Take this as your wake-up call. One day you'll thank me. Start putting money away for retirement. You will be delighted in years to come that you did. I had to learn that lesson the hard way. I did. I learned it. And now I am putting money aside, and I feel a heck of a lot better for it. We are heading into a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have more videos. We're going to have more news. We're going to have more common sense and more truth, which is really what the show is all about anyway.
Specialized in gas that currently have 400 gas percent. We also buy and sell common trade gold, silver, musical instruments, knives, archery equipment, quads, side-by-side, points, and a lot more. We buy gun equipment and do a business, which is smart for businesses should have done for us. We are according to ATF Colorado. Because we have a lot more overhead than big box stores, we can beat big box stores when it comes to not calling for gas. And we have the most rates for half of what the grocery stores charge when you're doing it alone. Come and see us at Grandpa's Mom and Gas. We love gas. We love gold. Check us out on the web, www.grandpasmom.com or 303-772-7952. Grandpa.
And let me back up my statement. By the way, this is Howard Real, author of Real Truth Stay Angry. Go to virtualbookworm.com, buy it, read it. You will absolutely love it. When I say Democrats are against everything that's good for America, you have no further to look than the economy. Our economy is red hot. It's booming. It's firing on all cylinders, and the Democrats despise it. They want to do everything in their power to take it down, to ruin it. Anthony Scaramucci was on Fox Business recently talking to Charles Payne about just what an economic miracle, his words, not mine, economic miracle that Donald Trump and the Republicans have sparked. Here we go. Listen closely. Yeah, well, he's right. The president's use of Twitter is off-putting to some voters, and those voters need to grow up. Those voters need to be smarter. I just had this conversation on Friday. I was sitting with a very, very intelligent woman, Democrat, smart woman, regional VP for a hospital chain across America. Very smart woman. And she also didn't like Donald Trump's tweets, didn't like the fact that he says certain things, he's not presidential. And I said to her what I've said, my friends, to you many times. You got smoke billowing out from under the hood of your car, and you take it into a mechanic and you say, fix the car. You don't say, well, wait a minute now, let me get a gauge on your personality. Are you gruff? Do you express yourself badly? Do you have bad thoughts about this? Or are you not present? You want someone to fix what's broken. And I told the woman, he's fixing what's broken. He's doing what he's supposed to do. So yeah, there are people who have trouble with the president's tweets. The trouble is in their thinking, not in the tweets. I think Shakespeare said that.
Right.
Yeah, folks, if there's one person I don't want to take lessons from about how to express yourself properly, it's Anthony Scaramucci. If you remember, he got his ass fired after just a couple of days because he couldn't control his mouth. So Scaramucci knows money. Good, come on the show and talk about money. He knows politics. Good, come on, talk about politics. He knows the economy. Good, come on, talk about the economy. But when it comes to expressing yourself in gentle, soothing terms to please everybody, Scaramucci, I don't want to hear from you.
That notwithstanding,
All right, we're getting close to a commercial, my friends. But yeah, Trump will be reelected, and he deserves to be. The question before us will be this: should we change the law to allow a third term for President Trump? Well, it's a good question. I'm sure it will be debated in the coming months and the coming years. I think you can't get enough of a good thing. I think he's so good for America, so good at draining the swamp, that maybe a third term would be good. Don't forget FDR won a third and a fourth term. He died during his fourth term. So it's been done. It can be done. More Trump, more prosperity for the United States of America. And the one thing we need to do is get rid of the Democrats. Post haste, ipso facto. We'll be right back.
Join us at the home of the Galaxy Tour, number one. Find out what the mainstream media is believing that people pro America, pro family, pro freedom. We are rebuilding exclusive reports, live coverage, information you won't find anywhere else. Tomorrow news today. Stay informed by listening to KHD 1360. The Alex industry for 20 years. Tired of the high prices of sales tactics, the constant phone calls. Are you done with the big quit? You just want to be treated fairly with honesty and respect. That's exactly what you get when you call 800-951-0592. You get my word on it. I'm Joe Giggles, the Patriot Trading Group. Check us out online at allamericangold.com. He's staring at the window. We pride ourselves in our clean cut, efficiently complete detailed process. Visit our website at landscaping.com. Our install crew can transform the dark all need running and access to zero, sources, zero, church, or free walk through the cash member you need and discuss the best options for your landscaping needs. Family owned and locally operated. We consider Northern Colorado for over 18 years. Thank you for your support and supporting Kate.
All right, guys, welcome back to Real Truth. A lot of stupid people around America talking about paying reparations. Okay, this has been going on for years and years and years. The people who are stupid or too lazy to work or want to cloak themselves in martyrdom and victimhood, they want reparations. Fact of the matter is, there are no people alive today who were slaves. There were no people alive today who were slave owners, and so the issue is moot. But not only that, reparations would be bad for the African American community. Here is Larry Elder, columnist, talk show host for the Epic Times, talking about how reparations will actually hurt Black America. Go ahead, Larry.
I want to talk about the case
My friends, people who know this, know these facts, don't care. And the people who want reparations don't care to know these facts. And if they did know them, they wouldn't care either. Calling for reparations is not about justice because, as we see, there is no justice in reparations. Calling for reparations is simply, give me free stuff. Not surprising, then, that this movement, this pathetic movement, resides on the left. The Democrats, which always cater to people who want free stuff. Doesn't matter, they say, if you got the facts on your side. Doesn't matter if history's on your side. Doesn't matter whether you're right. We want free stuff, and the threat of violence hangs in the air. Reparations are an awful idea put forward by people who just plain don't want to work for a living. We'll be back.
Join us and don't miss the moment of the Alex Jones Show. You are number one source for independent media. Find out what the mainstream media doesn't believe in them. It's the world is pro-America, pro-family, pro-freedom. We are equally 776. Exclusive reports, live coverage, information you won't find anywhere else. Tomorrow's news today. Stay informed by listening to KHNC 1360 AM. The Alex Jones Show on KHNC, the heart of Northern Colorado. Just about anywhere for all kinds of different deals. So why do you use the Patriot trading group 20 years just like that? Ain't no trading just like that. Just like that. No mistake, just like that. Fine, no mistake, just like that. For all your full authorities on the Patriot trading at 800-951-0592. Just like that. Your home built between 1965 and 1975. It's so they have a fire. Aluminum fire safety has these homes are about 50 years old now. Using more electrical power than anyone imagined back today. And aluminum fire doesn't get better with time. They are much harder to observe and harder to sell. Aluminum fire repair are like focus on the permanent mitigation of the aluminum fire hazard. All them for now. 720-79-4706. And ALFirerepair.com. Don't walk away from all protecting a fine. Your safety is their business. They are incorporated with the Better Business. Call them today. 720-79-4706. Or visit their website, ALFirerepair.com.
Item from the Associated Press, Dateline, D.C. When 10 Democratic presidential candidates were pressed on immigration policy during their recent debate, Pete Buttigieg took his answer in an unexpected direction. He turned the question into a matter of faith. Buttigieg, the mayor of Bend, South Indiana, accused Republicans who claim to support Christian values of hypocrisy for backing policies separating children from their families at the U.S.-Mexico border. The GOP, he declared, has lost all claim to ever use religious language again, unquote. My friends, Pete Buttigieg is a fool for a variety of reasons. I haven't got time to flesh them all out. So he's saying Republicans, or Christians in this case, are hypocrites for backing policies separating children from the families. Well, those policies were put in place by the Obama administration, number one. Number two, the families that come here have broken the law. So what we're doing is enforcing the law. When is there ever hypocrisy in enforcing the law? Now, if you want to change the law, you got to leave Bend, South Indiana and go to D.C. and get a real politician's job in Congress. Number one. Number two, the last person on the planet who should be invoking the Bible or God is Butt-I-Gag, who is a self-admitted gay man. Don't forget, the Bible says that homosexuality is an atrocity. What's the exact word it uses? It's punishable by death in the Bible. It's an abomination. That's the word in Hebrew. And so, what truck has he got with God? God would consign him to a grave instantly. So for Butt-I-Gag to be out there invoking the name of God, I think is ridiculous on its face. Item from Breitbart. The Afrofuture Music Festival in Detroit is charging white people double the price for a ticket compared with people of color. In a move they claim will ensure marginalized groups are given, quote, equitable chance in enjoying events in their own community, unquote. My friends, this item was updated earlier today. The people behind the Afrofuture Music Festival have undone this because they realized it was open and obvious racism. If they want higher ticket prices, they got to be for everybody. If you want lower ticket prices, they got to be for everybody. Perhaps the morons behind the Afrofuture Music Festival, the racists who are putting it on, will realize that they're doing exactly what the racists they hate so much did for so many years. Item from Breitbart. Del Rio Sector Border Patrol agents apprehended more than 1,000 Haitian migrants who illegally crossed the border from Mexico since June 10th. My friends, perhaps those people from Haiti are here to thank the Clintons for all the good that the Clintons did them many, many years ago. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. The Clintons pretended to help the Haitians, then pocketed a lot of the money, according to what I've read, a lot of the money that they collected and did basically nothing for Haiti. Haitians hate the Clintons. But the fact that they're coming here illegally means we've got to build that wall. Item from Breitbart. The New York City Department of Education announced recently all students will be permitted to change their names and genders at will. Folks, this is the height of ridiculousness, except children are being damaged, and so it ceases to be funny. The Democrats running New York, starting with Mayor Bill de Blasio, who's ludicrous enough to think he could ever be president, are damaging children, and I call upon the sane parents in New York City to put an end to this. I'll be back tomorrow with more Real Truth. Have no fear. Hasta luego.